Hello everyone and welcome to the Arbor Farm. Thank you for joining us for today's episode where I want to share with you how we set up our plant propagation misting system. Let's get started. So why would you want to use your own plant propagation misting system? Well, if you're a nursery owner, you grow plants for a living, you're a flower farmer, or you're just a hobbyist and you want to expand your plants, a plant propagation misting system might be the solution for you in your backyard. The number one thing that you want to caution yourself about when propagating plants is to make sure that they're not patented. So you never want to propagate a plant that is still under patent, and so that is against the law. You want to make sure that everything that you propagate is free for propagation, and most likely, if that's the case, it's been around for a long time. You can do a quick Google search and find out, just say is, Forsythia, for example, still under patent. That's one that happens to not be under patent, so that is free for propagation, the old-fashioned Forsythia. We like to do a lot of hydrangeas, so we're constantly searching the web to see what is and what is not still under patent. And the thing that the plant propagation misting system allows you to do is to propagate plants through moisture and through summertime warmth, through small cuttings. And I'll drop a link to the video that we created previously for how we propagate hydrangeas and using our misting system from cuttings. And so it keeps the summertime warmth. It allows you to have shade, which I'll get into that in a few moments. And then it keeps those leaves nice and wet, which is the way the cutting survives until it develops roots. So it drinks water through its leaf system to keep it alive until it develops roots. So this is the key. When is the best time to propagate plants with a plant propagation misting system? Well, the summertime is the best time. The end of June, the first part of July is the perfect time to take cuttings and then stick those cuttings into some kind of rooting medium, whether that is sand or potting mix or plant starter, whatever is best for the kind of plant that you intend to propagate, and then to place it under the misting system. So the softwood cuttings or the new growth is the best to do under a plant propagation misting system. And in our zone 6, that's the end of June or the first part of July, is the best time to start those plants. So for our misting table, we put together just a pretty simple table. I just use a free pallet that I picked up, and then I'm using some 2x4s for the legs. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna attach the 2x4s on all four corners, and that will make our table. The next step we need to do is to add some kind of a roofing, and this is just what we came up with. We have these PVC pipes that we've bent, or I guess it's more like, in this case, we're using 1/2-inch conduit. I've put some conduit holders or clamps along the edge so that I can string this through there and make a dome where I can hang my misters. And then I can also put some shade cloth over the top to protect the plants while they grow their root system. So our next step is to go ahead and add these. My goal is to make all of them the same height so that they will be the same distance from the plants that I'm going to put on my table to propagate. Now, some years we have extended our table so that we have 2 pallets, or you could even do 3, 4, 5 pallets long, whatever your need is. But for our purposes, for this video, I'm just going to show you the exact same setup you would use, but a smaller version here. In order to set up your misting table, you're going to need 3 main things. And the first thing here is a timer. So this is going to make your mist turn on and off, and we'll show you how to set that up in just a few moments. So we keep our mist going for 10 seconds or something like that every few minutes throughout the day, the sunlight hours, and then we let it stay off all night because we don't want any mold or mildew to develop on our nice little plants. And so a timer is the first thing you'll need, and I'll put a link in the description below to the ones that we use so that you can see what they are, but you feel free to get whatever is the best for you. And then the next thing you'll need is a solenoid, and this allows the water to turn on and off. This is actually what does that work of turning the water on and off. It responds to what the timer tells it to do. And then the final thing you need is some hose with misting heads. And this is just plug and play here. You connect as many of them together as you need. And this sprays a nice mist onto your plants that are being propagated. So we're gonna go ahead and hook that together. The solenoid, in order to turn it on and off, needs to be connected to power. And so an AC adapter is necessary. Again, I'll put the link in the description below so you can see which one we used. But I'm gonna show you here. It's pretty simple as far as connecting. So this is what comes with it, and you just simply connect each of them and then wrap it in electrical tape. So we've plugged our timer into electricity, and then we plug the AC adapter or the solenoid into that. Then we have the water source coming into the solenoid and an adapter on there for it to connect. The solenoid is plugged into the electricity and turned to the on position. Then we have it connected out the other end to the misting hose, and the hose is zip tied to our conduit, and we have the misting heads. At the end of the misting hose, we've gone ahead and clamped it so that the mist will just run right out of each of those misting heads. So just a quick update as to how it's going. We've got our tubing across the top, and we put our misting heads along with the misting hose. We've connected to a garden hose, and we've connected to the solenoid, which turns the water off and on. So we're gonna go ahead and test our mist here to see if all of our heads are working properly, because we have used this in past seasons, and sometimes a head can get corroded, or we can sometimes oops and not hook it up correctly. But let's go ahead and let's test it. So in 3, 2, 1. Excellent. So now what I need to do is go back and make sure all of the heads are pointing down, because this is where I'm going to put the plants that I intend to propagate. And so that's my next step, is to make sure all of the heads are facing down toward where the plants will be sitting. And the final thing that I need to do is connect the timer and then add my shade cloth. Plants can't propagate in the heat of the sun, so adding a shade cloth will be an important step. So first I'm going to fix my misting heads, and then I'll come back to you and show you how to set up your timer. Why do you need a timer? Well, a timer is important as far as the mist going on and off in regards to keeping your plants moist. That is what allows them to develop roots. Hydrangeas are the thing that we like to propagate the most, because we use them a lot here on our flower farm. And so keeping that mist on them all day is what helps them to develop roots, and then helps them grow out into good plants. So setting up your timer is important. You don't necessarily need this timer, but just a timer that's gonna turn your solenoid valve on and off throughout the day, so that you don't have to sit here all day long with your cup of coffee in hand and turn the water on and off. I'm sure you're like us and you have much better things to do throughout your day. So let's set up our timer. Let's go ahead and set our timer, and so that we're starting in the same spot, I'm gonna press the reset button here and reset the whole timer. Now I'm gonna press the confirm button and hold it until it flashes. Now what I want to do is set the time that it currently is, and so it's about 2 o'clock here, and this is a 24-hour clock. If I wanted to add minutes, I would simply press the minute button, and once I have it set, I'm going to press confirm. So my clock is set to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and for some reason there is a bell here, which means that there's an alarm set. I don't know what that alarm does or what it will do when it reaches the point where the alarm is set, but I can remove the alarm, the bell icon, by pressing the confirm and the minute button both at the same time to shut it off. So the bell icon is no longer there and the alarm has been removed. Now let's go ahead and set the timer. The next thing I want to do is set a cycle timer so that it will turn my mist on for a few seconds every few minutes. And so to do that, I'm gonna press the switch button and then hold down the timing button. Now I can see that my screen is divided in half. The top will indicate the seconds that I want the mist to run, and then the bottom will indicate the delay between each of those segments that the mist will run. So I'm going to go ahead and set it, and this is a bit confusing the way that this particular timer is set up. The minute button is used to set the seconds. So on the top is my seconds of delay, and I'm going to use the minute button to set the length of time that I want the mist to run. And I'm going to have my mist run 8 seconds. Now I want to set the time that it is delayed between each of the times that the mist runs. And so I press the confirm button to move down to the next screen, and I'm going to use the hours to set the minutes of delay. So that is a bit confusing as far as how this particular timer is set up, but the delay time between when each segment of mist runs is going to be 10 minutes. So my mist will run for 8 seconds every 10 minutes. And I will go ahead and press confirm. So you can see that it's going right to work here. It's saying that the mist would be on if I had it plugged into here, and then it would be off for this amount of time. Well, that's perfect, but I want my mist to shut off at night, to not run at all, because I want the air to circulate and my plants to not become rotten or have any mold or mildew problems. And so it will help to keep them disease free if I shut it off at night. So that's the next step that I need to do, is to shut the timer off at night. Otherwise it will just continue to run right around the clock. So now I want to set up the hours of operation and set the time that the mist will come on during the day and then have it shut off during the night. And so to do the hours of operation, I'm going to press the switch button in the upper right. Then I'm going to press timed. And again, it will split my screen into two portions. The top is the beginning time and the bottom is the ending time. So I want my beginning time to start at 9 a.m. And to do that, for this one, I will use the hours button. So I'm going to set that, keep pressing the hours until I get to 9 a.m. And that will give me enough time to allow the sun to come up and the plants to dry off if there's any moisture left from the night before the mist starts. And then I need it to move to the bottom, so I'm going to press the time button again, and then I will set the time that I want it to shut off. And again, I'm going to use the hour button. Using my 12-hour clock, I'm going to set it to 1700, which is about 5 o'clock in the evening. I want to go ahead and confirm that. So it's going to turn on at 9 a.m. and it will shut off at 5 p.m. Now I can use I need it to run within the window. It's working now, but it's within this window, and so I'm gonna go ahead and switch it to that mode, and I need to press a long hold on the timing circulate button. And then I can go ahead and press confirm. So now it is working within the window. The mist will come on every 10 minutes for 8 seconds. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. it will shut off during the evening. A couple of other tips. We found that these misting heads can be very important. Obviously, if your mist doesn't flow through the heads, then your plants aren't getting the mist that they need. So you can get replacement heads online, and I'll drop a link again in the description below so that you can see which ones we've used. But the heads are a matter of screw them out and screw them back in. If you have city water like us, and you might have the problem where the misting heads get corroded, that will be a helpful tip. So adding a shade cloth is another important feature to your misting table, and we just use a nursery shade cloth. It keeps your plants shady, but it does allow a little light to filter through, and of course air to filter through, so that's important. So what we do is we just drape this over the top. So our mist will continue to go on and off inside of there. And if you're like us and you live in a place where the summers get extremely warm from time to time, 90s or even 100 plus degrees, you might want to double up your shade cloth and put 2 layers over so that your plants stay nice and in the shade. Of course, the heat from the sun is not a problem. It's just those sun rays penetrating will kill your cuttings. Thank you for joining us for today's episode. Our goal is to always create content that's helpful for you. And if you found today's content helpful, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel so that you can receive notifications as when the next content is available. And as always, if you have questions or comments, please drop those below. We read every single one and we are always happy to engage with you. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.